Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Very interesting, crazy slate of games we had last night. It was 10 games, but it really was nine. Crazy shit happened in Philadelphia where, uh, for some reason, the guys forgot to set the temperatures to a certain degree or whatever, and there's the ice underneath, where the Flyers play. There's ice underneath the actual hardwood, and the floor was wet. And so they tried to dry it. They mopped it. Boogie grabbed the mop. Everybody tried to keep the floor dry so that the Philadelphia 76ers could play the Sacramento Kings in Philly, but it didn't happen. The game was postponed, and so I don't know how that's going to affect FanDuel guys. I saw a tweet that said something about maybe if they play the game tomorrow, they would calculate those points into it. I'm not sure how true that is, but I have a feeling if you're on DraftKings and you didn't you didn't change your lineups, you're dead. So whatever it is. Actually, I know you're dead on DraftKings because they just put my winnings in my account and they ain't getting that out. So let us go ahead. Well, first things first, just want to thank everybody for riding along with me, man. Letting you know that over the next couple days, we will be transitioning. The website is launching, as well as the Facebook page, the new YouTube page that's going to be for subscribers that are already in the fold. I'm going to show you how we're going to redirect you and all of that. Um, there's going to be some paid services going out too, but if you're already down, you've already been down since day one, you're locked in, you're fine. We're going to find that way for you to still get the same content you've been getting. Um, because word of mouth is the best thing. I would much rather 2,500 of you tell somebody, yo, I fuck with the DFS sweatshop. It's free for me, but it might cost you a little something, but it's free for me. I'm cool with that. You've been down since day one. You family. I would shout you all out by names and Twitter handles, but it'll take too long because we blew up quick. There's so many of us. We are very deep, and I am very appreciative of all of you for riding along with me. Just wrapped up a series. Series is entitled "How to Become a Profitable DFS Player." This is loosely centered around basketball, since that's the season that we're gonna thick in. We're gonna thick a basketball season, so it's kind of loosely centered around that. But this is where we're going to talk about bankroll management in depth. We're going to talk about ownership levels and gameplay, what tournaments to put your money in. This is where we're going to talk about social media sites, how to compile information, where to go to get your spreadsheets, everything you need. We've got spreadsheets for you. This is a nice 5-part video, and it's also going to be breaking down, like, I've never really broken down the core 4 system to you, my roster building system to you. Never really like I did in this video that we've got coming for you. So be on the lookout, man. That's going to be out very soon. And just wanted to thank you all. Let's go ahead and jump into the regular formatting of the show. We're going to start with our core 4 review. This is where we talk about the tweet that I send out. Either it's a tweet or a video I send out every day, where I let you guys know who I'm playing. And this is so I can provide those checks and balances. Just the one thing I want from you all is your trust. I want you to look at me and say, yo, I can trust what this dude is saying. He may not win all the time. He may not be the best at this. But if he tells me he's doing something, that's what he's doing. Because that is what I respect. I respect truth and honesty. That's why I show you my bad lineups. I show you my best lineups. I give you my shitty plays. I give you my great plays. All of it. You can have it all. So let's go ahead and jump to the core 4 review. We started with Tobias Harris. You know how I feel. There's some things in the sweatshop that are just law. They're just law. When Kimba's at home, that's law. When Boston is playing and we want to attack the front court and get some rebounds, that's law. That's just what we do. So when we saw Boston was on the slate against a pretty good rebounding team anyway with the Detroit Pistons, we automatically attacked them, and I chose to do so with Tobias Harris. I like Andre Drummond having some spots, but Tobias Harris was cheaper, and I thought he would do more in the scoring and assist and to get those other numbers, and he had a pretty good game. At 5.7K, 14% ownership, Tobias Harris went out and scored 36 DraftKings points, a little bit more than 6x value, exactly what we wanted from him. Uh, the next guy we're going to talk about is going to be John Wall. 16% ownership at 9.3K. He scored 50 DraftKings points. Now, it took him overtime to do so, but I mean, you can't shake your stick at 50 DK points. That was a great return on that. Wasn't quite 6x value, but it was right where we needed him to be. 50 DraftKings points, I'll take that all day long. Hassan Whiteside. Now I checked him off earlier when I was discussing the player pool with you all the night before, and I saw the matchup he was in. I checked him off. I had him already written in as the Heat Check player of tonight. But somebody has something to say about that. We're gonna get into that in just a moment. But Hassan Whiteside at 8.8K, 9.6% ownership. A lot of people were in on him. I imagine a lot of people was on Boogie, but they weren't on him. He goes out and scores 58.75 DraftKings points, exceeds that 6x value just like I thought he would. Really great game from Hassan Whiteside. The last guy was Darren Collison, and he likes to hit the chicks. So he got caught up in that whole wet floor, dry mop incident, and he was unavailable to play. And I pivoted in a lot of spots to KCP just because I like that Boston and Detroit game so much. I moved over to KCP, and it worked out pretty well for me. Uh, Double the buy-in was a really nice night. So now we're going to jump into our feature for players of the night. These are the most talked about, tweeted about players in the sweatshop, most for good, but some bad reasons. Let's go ahead and start with our Who Dat, scoring all them points over there. Player of the night. This goes to Dennis Schroeder. This dude has a command of this team. This is his squad. This is Dennis Schroeder's team. With the departure of Al Horford and the coming of Dwight Howard, it was kind of jumbled up. Paul Millsap came over from Utah a few years back. He he's not really that commanding, demanding figure. He is on the court, but just not. He doesn't play point guard, so he doesn't have that ability to just take control of the team. Dennis Schroeder does, man. Jeff Teague gone. This is his squad. And he went out tonight and had an excellent game at 6% ownership, very low, 5.9K. He goes out and scores 50 DraftKings points. That is almost 10x value. Very great game from Dennis Schroeder. If you had him in your lineups, salute. You made a great move there. The how did I miss that player tonight goes to Julius Randle. And I can tell you how we missed that. We don't know what's going on with the Lakers a minute. You couple not knowing how the Lakers are going to play their players because we know this is a Luke Walton coach team, came over from Golden State. He likes to run 8 deep. Everybody gets between 18 and 26 minutes. You never know exactly what you're going to get from them on a particular start. They are more matchup based. They play more matchup based than just we're going to roll out our starters every time. It's great coaching. It's great coaching, and you can tell the Lakers are a better team for it. But it's just hard to roster any of these guys with the amount of confidence that you would with other teams. So a lot of us missed on Julius Randle at 6.6K, 5% ownership, went out and got 44 DraftKings points. Very solid game from Julius Randle. If you had him in your lineup, that was a great play. Salute to you. The Heat Check player tonight can only go to one cat. Pun intended. This dude went out and at 9% ownership because everybody was on Boogie. Either you were on Whiteside, you paid all the way down. This dude went missing. He was my uh how did I miss that play? Because I didn't have him anywhere. I sent a tweet out. I had zero cat, and all I got back was crickets. They was like, "What? You have zero cat? You crazy? This dude has like 22 points in the first quarter. I wasn't on him. I just wasn't on him. My bad." At 9% owned, 8.3K, he goes out and scores 80 DraftKings points. Excellent game from Cat. If you had him, I know you were very close to the winner's circle. Probably had a chance to take down some shit if you had Carl Anthony Towns on tonight. Great play. I salute you. And I'm checking these guys off as people that I'm going to be watching going forward. I'm checking them off. Now this last dude, I'm gonna check him off too because he is like one bad game from being dead to me. And this is hard. This is bittersweet. Okay? Because and see, I don't want to put too much pressure on this man because there's already a pressure involved with you uh because you play for my favorite team. You play for my team, right? So not only am I expecting you to go out and please me playing well as a Nick, but I also want you to help me out to put some food on the table for the babies. You did one, you fucked up on the other. You won the game, you were on the winning team, but You only scored 15 DraftKings points, and for that, Derrick Rose, you a motherfucking snowflake with your snowflake ass, and I ain't gonna roster your ass again tonight unless you get one of them tasty matchups. And I forget that you're the glass man who gonna be broken, and you had a couple good games in a row, and I roster you again, and you do this shit to me again. So tonight's snowflake is Derrick Rose. You ain't got to go to sleep with that, but you're gonna wake up with that shit in the morning with your snowflake ass. Let's move on. We're gonna be jumping into just a regular formatting of the show. I'm gonna hit you with my best lineup, let you see what that looks like. Then we're gonna jump into a recap of last night's 9 games. It should have been 10, but 9 games. Fly through that quickly. Then we're going to pull up the player pricing guides, see what we have to look forward to in developing our player pool for tomorrow's 6 game slate. Now, 6 game slates can be a little tricky. Either when you look at it at first glance, it's going to be either, oh, I can cherry pick and get some one-offs, or I'm gonna be doing a lot of stacking. Now, I haven't looked at it too much yet, but we're gonna do that together. Let's go ahead and jump into my best DraftKings lineup. We'll pull it up right here for you. All right. Pretty good night in the sweatshop, man. We were definitely profitable. We were able to double our buy-in. And the weirdest thing was I kind of went a little too hard. I had the night off from the restaurant. You know, I'm a barber during the day. I'm a waiter at night. I had the night off in the restaurant, and I was at home with the babies all day long, clean up the house a little bit. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a few lineups. I'm gonna make a little bit more than I usually do. I usually run 5 lineups, multiple entry those 5 lineups. But man, I was watching Roto Grinders on Xbox, and I'm listening to the podcast, and should have listened to my show again from last night, because that's where all the good shit was. But anyway, so I come up with these. I got 30 lineups at 6:50 Eastern time. The news breaks, or breaks to me, that it's going down in Philly. The game might not even happen. So now I'm scrambling to take Boogie, Collison, who was in my core four, so you know I had him in a lot of spots, Sergio Rodriguez, Rashawn Holmes, Hollis Thompson, all these guys I'm trying to get out of these lineups, and they're all like one or two here, da, 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 crazy. I didn't get to all of them. I got to most of them. It would have been a much more profitable night if I'd have got to all of them. But let's go ahead and check out my best lineups here on DraftKings. Where is it? Where is it? Now I had a few hit. I had a few hit 300, man. I was definitely I was all up in the 300 club tonight, like most of us were in the sweatshop, because that's how we rock. We keep it 300. Okay, and just to give you a little a look into my thought process as I was creating this lineup. All right, we're gonna start here with John Wall. John Wall was definitely a core four player. You're gonna see the core four in this lineup, and this is to show you, man. I'm not just talking about these cats. These are cats that I'm actually playing. This ain't like that other shit that you watch where people try to put you on all different kind of people and they ain't even playing them themselves. No, these are the guys I'm playing. Right now, this lineup initially had all 4 members of the core four in it. It had John Wall. It had it was John Wall. I had your boy right here, Collison. I had Tobias Harris, and of course Hassan Whiteside. But when the news broke, I had to pivot and shift quickly. So I moved over to Contavious Caldwell Pope, who I liked anyway. He had a really nice game, got 41.75 DraftKings points. Of course, John Wall, we talked about him with the 50 DraftKings points. Tobias Harris, 36. I ended up when I made that switch from Caldwell Pope um, to, because he was less. Contavious was a little less than Collison. So I paid up just a little bit to where I could get Nikolai Mirotic, who had a so-so game. Hassan Whiteside was there. He was definitely part of the core four. Dame Lillard, who I really love. He's one of my favorite players. If you know me, you know I like Dame. You know I like Kimba. You know how I'm rocking. Now, Dame had a really good game. 58 DraftKings points from him. I thought this game could be a blowout. I said, if this game's gonna blow out, Dame's gonna have a big part of it. But The second team, I'm gonna pick who I think is gonna be the best guy off of the second team to come in and kind of clean up, and that was Evan Turner. That was definitely a swing and a hit on that one. Evan Turner had 33 DraftKings points at 4.2K. Very good game from him. And then I went with the industry chalk. This was the industry chalk slash value play that everybody was on. Andrew Harrison went out and had 36.5 DraftKings points. That was this lineup. This lineup finished with 344.5 DraftKings points. My best lineup of the night. Now, let us go ahead and jump into the quick recap of last night's games. Because the next thing we're going to go ahead and jump into the player pricing. So let's go ahead and jump into last night's games. And we're going to start. We're going to start in Philadelphia, where the Kings didn't play the 76ers. We go ahead and check them off for being stupid. Right? Now, the next game we're going to talk about is going to be the Boston Celtics at home against the Detroit Pistons. A really good game we saw from the entire starting five of the Detroit Pistons. You could have stacked the starting five and John Lure and been in position to really do some damage if you had Karl Anthony Towns. Tobias Harris in 35 minutes, 21 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists for him. Uh, Marcus Morris had a really good game, 20 points to go with 4 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 3 blocks. Drummond was his usual rebounding self at 17 boards to go with 20 points, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. At KCP, he has continued his hot shooting from the last 3 games. 25 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. Ish Smith damn near flirted with a triple-double. He had 8 boards, 8 assists, and 19 points to go with a block. Pretty good game from him. And John Lure jumped off of the bench and had 12, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists. On the Boston side, these guys kind of underwhelmed, man. I looked to see a lot more scoring from the Boston side, but we ended up with Isaiah Thomas, the usual suspect, leading the team in scoring 27 points, no boards, and 4 assists for him. Jay Crowder had a pretty decent game. He had 14 points to go with 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals. Al Horford, not a very good game for him. 9 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks. And Avery Bradley, he started off very slow, kind of got going in the last few minutes, but it wasn't enough to return value on his salary. He needs to be somewhere around the 5K range. Avery Bradley with Al Horford with Jay Crowder back, he needs to be somewhere around 5.6 to 5.9, somewhere in that range. He should not be a 6K or better player. He really shouldn't. Next game we're going to get into is going to be the um, Toronto Raptors at home against the Memphis Grizzlies. We saw a pretty good game on the Memphis side. If you took a chance and roster some of these guys, it really did pay off for you, man. Andrew Harrison, we talked about him already. 21 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals for him. While my man is out, while Conley is out, I think we can look to Harrison, man. He had a pretty good game, and these ain't no poo-poo defenders on the Toronto side. They're pretty good on-ball defenders. He had a really good game. We saw a beast of a game from Jermichael Green, 16 points, 5 boards, 5 steals, a block, and an assist for him. Marc Gasol, 18 and 8 with 3 assists for him. Pretty good game there. And Troy Daniels came off of the bench and had 19 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, and 1 steal. On the Toronto side, a really overlooked guy on today's slate was Kyle Lowry. The ownership was very low on him, and he didn't disappoint if you did roster him. He had 29 points in 37 minutes to go with 8 assists, 2 steals, and 3 rebounds. We saw DeMar DeRozan for about 35 minutes, and he had 24 points, 9 boards, and 6 assists. Pretty decent game for him. DeMarre Carroll, he only had 1 assist, but he did have 17 points. So that was a pretty decent game from him. And Pat jumped off the bench and grabbed 13 boards, scored 14 points, got a steal. Nice game from Patrick Patterson. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Chicago Bulls at home against the LA Lakers. There was a lot of shit going on with this game. Oh, Dwayne Wade is going to play. Dwayne Wade is not going to play. Dwayne Wade tooth hurts. Dwayne Wade he's got a cavity and all of that shit, and he still played. So it was weird, but it's what happened. And in 30 minutes, he did have 17 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists and 2 steals. Pretty decent game from Dwayne Wade. Rajon Rondo flirted with a triple double. He had 6 assists, 8 rebounds, and 14 points. Nikolai Mirotic, man, he should have had a much better game. He missed a lot of open looks and had 6 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 1 block. Taj Gibson got his double double with 10 rebounds and 11 points to go with 4 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Jimmy Butler, underwhelming performance. He is not a 9K player. He's not. He's just not a 9K player. Without Dwayne Wade, maybe. But then he's going to hurt himself. But with another guy, or with another ball dominant guard on the court, with two of them actually, with Rondo and Wade, he's not a 9K player. And I'm not going to roster him again for that price. It's going to have to come down some. He played 40 minutes. That's a lot of minutes. Only get 22 points, 4 boards, 2 assists, and 3 steals for him. We saw nothing off of the bench. Let's move on to the LA Lakers side. Luol Deng is like his mentor, Jimmy Butler's mentor, and he kind of showed up a little bit. Usually he plays around 15 minutes, but he played 24 minutes and had 8 rebounds to go with 10 points and 2 steals. Nice game from him. We talked about Julius Randle already. He grabbed 20 boards, had 13 points, 2 assists, and 2 steals. Jordan Clarkson came off of the bench and had 18 points to go with 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 steal for him. And Larry Nance Jr. got a double double from where he sat, 11 rebounds, 12 points, 3 steals, and an assist. Sweet Lou Williams shot for 18 points off of the bench with 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block in 28 minutes. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder at home against the Washington Wizards. This was a really good game. As I said before early in the show, it did go into overtime, and we saw yet again another triple double from your boy, Russ Westbrook. Went out and had 35 points, 14 rebounds, and 11 assists to go with 2 steals. Some cats on Twitter were geeking earlier. Oh, he's gonna be a snowflake. You don't have to worry about this dude being a snowflake. Actually, if if you roster him and he don't return 6x value, you can't really fault the man. The dude price is fucking astronomical, 12.6K, and he still made value today. The price may go up. Excellent game from Russell Westbrook in the win. Vic Oladipo, my man, had a really good game. Bounced back on him with 6 boards, 6 assists, a steal, and 25 points. We saw a pretty decent game from Enes Kanter off of the bench. 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 block for him. Sabonis finally exceeded his 3.3K price to make value. Had 10 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. And we saw Joffrey Lavergne for 13 minutes. He had 5 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. On the Washington side of the ball, Markieff Morris finally snapped this streak of shitty games. He had 19 points, 7 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block for him. We saw Otto Porter for just under 40 minutes, and he had 8 boards, an assist, 3 steals, and 11 points. Martin Gortat had a double-double, 11 rebounds, 12 points, 2 assists, and 1 block for him. And we also saw John Wall, 15 points, 15 assists in 43 minutes to go with 6 rebounds, a steal, and a block. Kelly Oubre has been getting a lot more PT lately. He's still around minimum salary. Dude had 12 points and 6 boards and an assist and a steal. That's something to look at going forward because I think Kelly Oubre is a decent young player. He needs to get more playing time anyway. The next game we're going to get into is where the Snowflake came from and the Heat Check. So the Heat Check and the Snowflake was in the same game. The Heat Check won, the Heat Check lost, the Snowflake won. Crazy. Now, on the Knicks side, Porzingis, man, he balled out. 50 DraftKings points for him. 29 points to go with 8 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks. Carmelo underwhelmed again. 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and 14 points. We talked about Derrick Rose with his 11 points, his measly 2 assists, and his 1 steal in 23 minutes. Horrible snowflake numbers for him. Brandon Jennings jumped off of the bench and had 12 points to go with 7 assists, 2 steals, and 2 rebounds. Nice game from him. On the Minnesota side, Karl-Anthony Towns, man. What more can I say? 80 DraftKings points, 47 real life points, 18 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 3 get the fuck out of here blocks. Awesome game from Karl-Anthony Towns. We saw Andrew Wiggins for 39 minutes. He had 19 points, 7 boards, 4 assists, and a steal. Gorgie Jang underwhelmed. He was 8 and 8 with 2 assists and a steal. Not a great game from him. Zach LaVine, after scoring 28 points last game, he scored 17 this game with 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. If you followed him down that last game, you weren't happy with what he did tonight. Not a great game for him at all. Next game we're going to get into is going to be the Dallas Mavericks at home against the San Antonio Spurs. This was a game that I completely faded. I didn't have anybody from anywhere on this team at all in any roster. I just didn't. Kawhi Leonard, 21 points, 7 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals. And it wasn't a bad game from Kawhi. It's just they didn't need him to do much. They don't need him to do much because they just beat teams. And Dallas sucks anyway, so they didn't really need him to do a lot. But Patty Mills, he was a good play. He had 23 points. Actually led the team in scoring. 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 steal for him. Not too much to speak of. Dwayne Dedman got the start, and he grabbed 10 boards and scored 6 points to go with 2 steals and 3 blocks. On the Dallas Mavericks side, Darren Williams did play, and he had 9 points, 8 boards, and 5 assists. Not a great game from him. The salary was at $4K, so who cares? That wasn't that bad. But Wesley Matthews was the story on the Dallas side. He had 26 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, and 1 block. And he's like the most unpredictable player that you can roster, man. Some nights he'll go out and go 0 for 15, and other nights he'll go 8 for 12 and score 25 points. Go figure. Harrison Barnes played 40 minutes, had 17 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 1 block. And we saw Lil Bruh Seth Curry in 27 minutes. He had 14 points to go with 2 rebounds and 1 steal. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Denver Nuggets at home against the Miami Heat. This is where the anchor of my core four was. Hassan Whiteside, excellent game from him. He went up in the air and took down 16 boards. Went up in the air and batted away 4 shots, 4 blocks for him. 25 points, 1 assist, and 1 steal. Nice game from Hassan Whiteside. Goran Dragic, 16, 3, and 7 assists to go with a steal. Pretty good game from him. We saw Tyler Johnson for 28 minutes. He had 18 points and 7 assists for him. Josh Johnson got into the mix. Pretty good game from him. 32 minutes. He had 10 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, and 2 blocks. Like really filled up the stat sheet. Pretty nice game from him. And we saw Wayne Ellington. He was second on the team in scoring. He had the double dub, 22 points to go with 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 4 steals for him. On the Denver side of the ball, I told you it was going to be a Jokic game. Last night I told you that. If you're gonna roster anybody on the Denver side, take a big and make sure it is Nikola Jokic. This dude should be in the starting lineup every game. Yusuf Nurkic will be better coming off of the bench, backing this guy up. 17 points, 14 boards, 3 assists, 1 steal. Really nice game from Nikola Jokic. We saw Wilson Chandler. The price is too high on him. That 7K went out and bought you 17 points, 7 rebounds, and a steal. Not a lot. Danilo Gallinari, first game back from injury, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, and 17 points. Not great. And Jameer Nelson is becoming a thing, man. He had 8 assists, 5 rebounds, and 17 points. Jamal Murray let a lot of us down. He tried to knock down some threes late in the fourth quarter, but by then he was already like he already pissed us off. We was already mad with him, so that really didn't move the needle too much. Not a great game from Jamal Murray. The next game we're gonna get into is going to be the Phoenix Suns at home against the Atlanta Hawks. Now, this is where the who that scoring all them points over there player tonight came from, and that was, of course, Dennis Schroeder. He had 31 points, led the team in scoring, 9 assists, one shy of the double-double bonus, 1 block, and 4 rebounds for him. Dwight Howard went up and came down with 14 rebounds, 17 points, 1 assist. Pretty nice game from him. Of course, Muscala got the start, played 29 minutes, and shat the bed. I mean, this dude was horrible in his 29 minutes. He had 3 rebounds, no points, 1 assist, and 2 blocks, and he was fairly highly owned. He was like last minute chalk. Kent Bazemore. Should I talk about Kent Bazemore? Okay, he scored enough for me to talk about. If you score 40, I can talk about you a little bit. But he is dead to me. He had 40 minutes, 22 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, and 1 block for him. We also saw my homie Tim Hardaway Jr. man, 21 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists, and 1 steal for him. Mike Scott was active. He played 3 minutes, got 1 rebound. Wasn't a good idea if you thought of it. On the Phoenix side, PJ Tucker, man, pretty good game from him. 30 minutes from him with TJ Warren out. He had 17 points to go with 3 rebounds, 2 assists. We also had a snowflake candidate on the Phoenix side. It was it was Eric Bledsoe, man. In 28 minutes, he had 12 points, 6 boards, 4 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. We saw a ton of points off to the bench in this game. Jarrett Dudley had 17 to go with 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals. Alex Lynn had a fairly decent game, 6 points, 9 boards, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. And we also saw Brandon Knight go in for 23 points, 5 boards, 2 assists, and 2 steals. Pretty nice game from Brandon Knight. The last game on the slate, and where the late night hammer resides, was in Portland as the Trailblazers played host to the Indiana Pacers. This game was a complete blowout. It was horrible to watch. The only reason why it was bearable for me was because I had, as you can see, I had Evan Turner in the game, and I also had Dame Lillard, big game Dame Lillard in the game. And on the Indiana side, man, not too much to speak about. Jeff Teague played a decent game. He had 25 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds, and 1 block. We saw a double-double from Miles Turner with 19 and 10 to go with an assist and a block. And Glenn Robinson the third, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal. Not a very great game from him. Al Jefferson and Scrub Love had 13, 1, and 1. And Aaron Brooks knocked down a few threes and had 16 points to go with 3 rebounds. On the Portland side, everybody got into the act, man. Even Ed Davis, who only had 2 points, he had 9 boards, an assist, a steal, and a block. Pretty nice game from him at that 3.6K. Maurice Harkless had 23 to go with 2 rebounds and 2 steals. Dame, we talked about him, 4 steals, 10 assists, 5 rebounds, and 28 points for him. McCollum, it looked like he scored a lot more, but he only had 19 points to go with 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, and 1 block. Alan Crabb also came off of the bench and dropped 15 in, with Evan Turner really putting in the most work off of the bench. He had 26 minutes, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals for him. Now, let us go ahead and jump into a brief analysis of tomorrow's player pricing, and we do this so that we can develop a pool in our head. I want some name. I want to go to bed tonight and be thinking about just a few names in my head, so when I establish my core four, I can extract those 4 guys from the player pool as we see it here. So we're gonna jump in. Let's create new lineup, NBA. And see, this is inside the core four process, man. This is inside the core four process. We're gonna open it up to all of the games. And of course, already the most expensive cat on the slate tomorrow. Let me move a little bit so you can see it. Or this side. Yep. The most expensive cat on the slate tomorrow is going to be James Harden. He's at 12K. Now, on a 10-game slate, 8-game slate, I'm not fucking with that at all. But because this slate of games is so small, 6-game slates, you can get away with rostering Harden, because a lot of times when a guy is that expensive, the guys on his team really aren't. So that kind of spells, if not team stack, game stack maybe. We can roster some guys on the Golden State side. So we've got James Harden at 12K. We've got Kevin Durant at 10.2. Giannis in Brooklyn at 9.9. That's pretty good. We've got LeBron. He owes us money at 9.3. Steph Curry 9.2. Chris Paul 9.1. So we've got some good games, some really good matchups tomorrow. We've got Whiteside on the back-to-back against Utah. I don't like that at all. Blake Griffin at 8.7. He was out for rest last time, so you may be able to fire him up this time. Kevin Love at 8K flat. Draymond Green 7.9. I'm gonna let you do the rest right here. See that there? Kemba Walker at home against the Dallas Mavericks. Highest on point guard on the slate tomorrow if we're smart. I love Kemba Walker. Immediately core four. Immediately. Kyrie Irving going to be some Chris Paul defense. 7.4. Gordon Hayward at 7.3. I like him tomorrow. Marc Gasol against Orlando. I like Marc Gasol tomorrow at home in the Grindhouse. Yeah. Mike Conley is out, so we know the Anderson kid is gonna be a good play tomorrow. Brook Lopez 6.7. I like him at Brooklyn. For playing the Milwaukee Bucks. Klay Thompson at 6.6. DeAndre Jordan 6.5. Gobert against Miami at. I like that a little bit. I kind of do. That's gonna be a contrarian play. Rudy Gobert. People are gonna see Whiteside and just be afraid. I kind of like that. Kind of like that. I do. Yeah, kind of like that. We got Nikolai Vucevic at 6.2. I don't like that very much. Goran Dragic against Utah. I don't like that very much. Harrison Barnes. I like Harrison Barnes. He's actually a North Carolina guy going to Charlotte. He played at UNC. I like Harrison Barnes tomorrow. Trevor Booker. Jabari Parker, I like him. Going up against Brooklyn. Trevor Booker at 6K flat. That price is up on him a little bit too much. I don't like Trevor Booker tomorrow. Serge Ibaka at 5.9 against Memphis. Sean Kilpatrick, we've got to start starting this guy before the salary gets up to 6K. He's at 5.8. I like Sean Kilpatrick tomorrow. Evan Fournier, 5.8. Not really. Clint Capella, nah, not at Golden State. Well, no. I may have some room for Clint Capella. We come back to that. Trevor Ariza, 5.4. Rodney Hood, he may not play. We want to really get some information on Rodney Hood. He may not play tomorrow. And if that's the case, we can look at George Hill a lot. Tristan Thompson, 5.2 against the Clippers. No. Eric Gordon against Golden State at 5.1. No. Alfred Payton may not play. Zach Randolph out. JJ Barea, Dirk Nowitzki, Frank Kaminsky at 5K. That's a little too much for him, especially if we see Zeller tomorrow, who I like. Wesley Matthews again at Charlotte. Now, hey, you get your little Wesley Matthews and and might do something for you. You get you some Wesley Matthews and Harrison Barnes. That might be a good play tomorrow as a stack in Charlotte. Redick at 4.7. Seth Curry at 4.7. DJ Augustine, he may start the game. Look at him. JaMychal Green at 4.5. Delhi 4.4. That Andrew Harrison is definitely going to be in play against Orlando. That's the guy that's playing for Mike Conley. Trey Lyles 4.4. Cody Zeller, I like the price on him at 4.4. This says they're first against centers, but I'm buying that. They at the Beehive. I like him. You finish? Okay, go and get in the bed, baby. I love you. Give me sugar. Give me sugar. Give me sugar first. Okay, my baby girl. All right, Bismack Biyombo 4.3. Troy Williams is going to be in play tomorrow at 4.2. Bojan Bogdanovic 4.1. I kind of like that. Tony Allen, pretty good play. If John Henson starts against Brooklyn, I love him tomorrow at 4K. Darren Williams, no. Marvin Williams is out. Hollis Jefferson 3.9. If he plays, that might be a decent play. J.R. Smith, the salary is down to J.R. Smith at 3.9 in a marquee matchup. We might want to take a hold of that because he's going to be seeing Redick or Luke Mumba Mute. Either way, I kind of like J.R. Smith tomorrow. Hamilton, Spates at 3.8. Isaiah Whitehead 3.6. So Michael Beasley at 3.5 might be a decent play too. Spencer Hawes, Channing Frye 3.4. Jaja 3.3 against Houston. I like him tomorrow as a punt option at center. The coach's son 3.3. No. Malcolm Brogdon might be a decent play at 3.1. He had a pretty good game out last time. Jarrell Martin. No, I'm not doing that again. So, man, I'm waiting for Chris Middleton to come back, man. That's one of my favorite plays. I liked him. So we've got in a 6-game slate, it is chock full of decent plays. So you're gonna have to be sharp tomorrow to finish where you want to finish at and approach the cash line the way you'd like to. And this show is sponsored by Kangaroo Coffee. All right, now let's go ahead and jump into the point total for tomorrow, and that's where we can refine the player pool that we just talked about. First game is going to be the Dallas Mavericks going to the Charlotte Hornets. This is uh, one of the lower point totals on the slate, but it's not the lowest. So we're gonna. This is a game we kind of can't avoid. We're not. We hate to be in point totals that's under 200, unless there's some strong defensive presence. And the reason why the point totals are so low is because both teams are shooting bad. They shoot the ball bad, so we get the rebounders in the game. That way we can score points there. This is not the case. This is a low point total strictly because the Dallas Mavericks suck. It's 194 point total, with Charlotte being the beneficiary, giving up 11 points to the Dallas Mavericks. Kimba's at home. You can do what you want to do in a sweatshop. That's law. Kimba's at home. I love Kimba tomorrow. Fire him up. I only need 3 more players for my core 4. That's how I'm looking at it. I love Kimba tomorrow. Also, I think we can attack Dallas we can stay on the perimeter attacking Dallas. I like Nick Batum tomorrow, but he's not going to be like a must play for me. Usually when I roster Kimba at home, I pick another guy who I think is going to benefit from Kimba being on the floor and playing really well, and I think it's going to be Cody Zeller. He's going up against Andrew Bogut, so I do like Cody Zeller tomorrow. If I had to roster any 2 guys from the Charlotte side, it'd be Kimba and Cody Zeller, with a strong consideration to um, Nick Batum, especially since what's his name? Jeremy Lamb, especially since Jeremy Lamb is hurt again, so I don't see him coming in and stealing minutes. Marco Bellinelli may be a decent play too, but they're not gonna need him. They're not gonna need some 3-point sharpshooter to jump off of the bench and knock down threes to keep them in the game, because this is gonna be over. They're gonna destroy them. But the beneficiaries from the blowout, somebody got to do the blowing out. It's gonna be Kimba. It's gonna be Zeller. On the Dallas side of the ball, like we just talked about, only 2 guys I would even consider rostering in this game would be Harrison Barnes and Wesley Matthews. I'm not gonna fuck with Wesley Matthews. If he plays well, the game stays close. But I'm not gonna trust that as a game script. So if I had to go anywhere, I would go one player to be Harrison Barnes in this game, coming back to Carolina, showing up for the home crowd and playing well. Next game we're gonna get into is gonna be the second highest point total on the slate. This is a very interesting game too, because it's the Brooklyn Nets, right? In a 216.5 point total, playing Milwaukee. Milwaukee is coming to Brooklyn and giving them 4 points. So that means Brooklyn is a home dog. Now we already seen, man, this is a scrappy team. They can get out and play. On the other side of the ball, we know what Giannis can do. We saw that the other night when he outscored LeBron James and made LeBron James the snowflake of the night. So I like a lot in this game. I'm gonna finally take a shot on Kilpatrick. I haven't rostered him yet this year, and I've been kicking myself in the butt about it. But I like Kilpatrick tomorrow. I think he's gonna be able to play well against the Milwaukee front perimeter. So I like Sean Kilpatrick tomorrow. Trevor Booker deserves consideration, but that 6K is just a little bit too pricey for me. I think we can look to Brook Lopez to have a decent game out tonight. And on the Milwaukee side, I love Giannis, of course. I'm gonna have some Giannis on the 6 game slate. I'm not gonna get away from rostering Giannis like I did on the last it was a 15 game slate when I didn't play him at all. So I like Giannis Antetokounmpo tomorrow. Jabari Parker definitely deserves consideration because he's about 6.4K I believe, which is a fair price for him. So if I had to roster anybody from this game, it on the Milwaukee side, it'd be Giannis, it'd be Jabari Parker, maybe a little Dellavedova, and Mike Beasley. I like Mike Beasley in this game too. On the Brooklyn side, it would be Sean Kilpatrick. It would definitely be Brook Lopez with some strong consideration to Trevor Booker at that 6K price tag. Okay, baby. Well, Daddy doing the show, okay? So you want to tell everybody hi? Come on. Y'all see her all the time. This is the one that was stealing the candy that time. This is Carson. Say hey, Carson. All right. Get Daddy sugar. I'm going back to bed. Take your artwork and go and get in the bed, okay? I love you, baby. And she gonna get the last word. Women. She gonna get the last word. She got to finish her artwork. All right, the next game we're going to get into is going to be the LA Clippers traveling to Cleveland to take on the Cavaliers. This is a 214.5 point total. You gotta have a short memory when it comes to daily fantasy sports. And I love LeBron James tomorrow. I think a lot of people are not going to be on James. They're going to be on Giannis, but I'm going to have a fair amount of James because you owe me money, LeBron. Uh, baby, no, baby, go ahead now. Interrupting the show. All right, 20 to 14 and a half point total here with Cleveland giving up 5 points to the LA Clippers. Now, I love DeAndre Jordan and Chris Paul when Blake Griffin is not playing. Great Blake Griffin absorbs so much usage that it's hard to roster any one of those three guys, man. It just make it hard. They've got to be in a matchup like this for me to consider Chris Paul, and it's hard to roster a point guard that good without grabbing somebody that's going to be on his team too, kind of like a stack, a correlation stack. But who do you get? Do you get Blake? Do you get Jordan? We saw what happened the other night when Blake didn't play. DeAndre went ham. So it's going to be hard for me to roster Chris Paul tomorrow. Not that he's not going to be a good play. I'm sure he's going to be a good play. But it's just I like to pair my point guard with somebody that I think he's going to be most active with. And it's hard to tell who's it going to be. We're going to see a lot of pick and roll. We're even going to see pick and roll between um, DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin. They've established a little pick and roll situation, pick and pop with them two too. So it's a hard roster to kind of figure out. So I mean I will have some Chris Paul. I'll definitely have some Chris Paul, and I may have some DeAndre Jordan, but I probably will not have much Blake Griffin tomorrow. On the Cleveland side, I love LeBron James. We already talked about that. I think Kyrie is not in play for me going up against that Chris Paul defense. Kevin Love can be in play at his price point. It's not overwhelming, and plus he's been playing very well lately. And we've also got Tristan Thompson on the low block, who I feel DeAndre Jordan is gonna manhandle him. So I don't like I don't like Tristan Thompson at all either. I do like for the cheap. I do like J.R. Smith though in this game. He's somebody who I'm gonna have in a few spots because for him to return value, he's got to score what 25 DraftKings points. He can do that. I feel like he should have no problem doing that. The next game we're gonna get into is the lowest point total on the slate. This is the Orlando Magic going to the Grindhouse in Memphis in 182.5 point total with Orlando giving up 1 point. That would make Memphis the home dog. Definitely know we can look to the Memphis point guard while Mike Conley is out. We can definitely look to him. Um, Jermichael Green may be a decent play. I like Marc Gasol, but this point total is so low that I'm going to try my best to avoid rostering more than one player off of each team because you're just asking too much. You got two guys from Orlando or you got two guys from Milwaukee. You're just asking too much. So I'm going to stick with the value play of the Memphis point guard and see what opens up when it comes on the Orlando side because we already saw that Alfred Payton may not play tomorrow. And if that means we get a full game of DJ Augustine for the cheap, I kind of like him. Going up against a rookie point guard, I kind of like him. I like DJ Augustine tomorrow. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the Miami Heat traveling to Utah to take on the Jazz. This is another low point total. It's 189 points with Utah being the home favorite, giving up 10 points to the Miami Heat. There's not a lot that I like in this game. The point total is so low. The pace is so low. I mean, if it were just Miami, it would be hard to look at it. But it's Miami and Utah. These are two of the slowest teams in the league. And these like methodical slow, not like they're just not good, so they're slow. But these teams try to slow the pace down, especially defensively. So if I had to go anywhere on the Utah side, uh, I depending on who plays. If Joe Johnson plays, I like Joe Johnson because then we get a revenge narrative in there. If Joe Johnson plays, I like him. If he starts for Rodney Hood, I like him. I like Rudy Gobert a little bit. I also think that we may see a decent game from George Hill going up against Goran Dragic, even though Miami plays a really good perimeter defense against point guards. On the Miami side, of course, Whiteside is always in play. Whiteside is always in play. But I think that we can get Rudy Gobert at a discount and have a fairly similar game. Fairly similar game. Just because of the construct of the point total, we have a fairly similar game. Now, if Rudy Gobert was playing another team and Hassan Whiteside was playing another team, I wouldn't say, oh, we can get the same thing from Rudy Gobert. But since they're playing each other in this low point total, both at a very slow pace, I think we're probably going to see very similar games from Whiteside and Gobert. So if you like Whiteside, give Gobert a shot, see what happens. Will allow you to pay up for a stud in another spot. The next game is going to be the highest point total on the slate. This is a 229.5 point total. It's probably going to be the game that everybody's going to be excited about and going to have a lot of interest in. This is going to be the late night hammer game. This is where your stacks probably will come from. It is the Golden State Warriors at home giving up 10 points to the Houston Rockets. And I don't want you to be like dazzled and dazed by the fanfare of this game. Golden State is gonna blow the shit out of Houston. I just feel it. They're gonna blow them out. Golden State is gonna blow out Houston. Then we're gonna see Durant and James Harden meet again. These guys were teammates at one point. Of course, there's no hard feelings, but Durant wants anybody that's associated with his old um, uh, Oklahoma City days. He wants to destroy it, and you just can tell he does. And for that reason, I think Golden State at home at the Oracle, they're gonna blow Houston out, and we're not gonna see, we're not gonna see like the Harden that we all are paying 12K for. So for me tomorrow, James Harden is a complete fade. I'm not playing him at all, at all. Period. Now, the price is 12K. He's a great player. He's going to be making plays. So I do have interest in some of his teammates. I like Ryan Anderson in this game. He's going to have to shoot threes in order to try to keep pace with the Golden State Warriors. I like Patrick Beverly in this game because he's very cheap. And Steph Curry sucks. He does at defense. He doesn't play defense at all. So I like Patrick Beverly in this game. Carson, let me finish my show, then I'm gonna come in and talk to you. Now, on the Houston side, of course, uh, Clint Capella can be a decent play too. See, there's a lot of misconceptions. But Golden State is, oh, they're the best team in the league against centers. No, they go small, and then you pull your big slow center off of the court, and you try to put your stretch four in there to run with him and Draymond Green, and it doesn't work out well anyway, and they blow you out. But that's not what Houston is doing. Clint Capella can run. He's a fucking deer, bro. He can run, and I really see him having a pretty decent game. Uh, on the Houston side. So I do like Clint Capella tomorrow. I don't like Harden. I like Capella. I like Ryan Anderson and I like Patrick Beverly. That's where I would go on the Houston side. On the Golden State side, all of these guys are in play. Everybody's in play. Everybody's in play. From Curry to Durant to Jaja Pachulia to Klay Thompson, they're all in play. It's just a matter of who can you get in your lineups. It's just a matter of who can you get in your lineups. So that will conclude the point total analysis as well as the player pricing. This has been your DFS Jerusalem. It has been an awesome show, a very good night in DFS Sweatshop. Uh, remember, you're supporting the show. I appreciate it, but there are ways to further support the show if you would like. We do have sweatshirts and t-shirts available. Has the logo, the DFS Sweatshop logo, DFS Sweatshop swag. It represents the 300 Club. You're more than welcome to get that. If you wanted to support me on my PayPal, that is Simmons Maurice 95 at yahoo.com. You can also look on my Twitter, my bio, the link to that. My PayPal business is in that bio. You can look on my YouTube page. It is there. Thank you. It has been an awesome show. Remember, in the DFS Sweatshop, we always keep it 300.